and then add tax. My name is Olivia Mitchell, and I'm 32 years old. Imagine being erased from your own family with a label maker. That's exactly what happened when my sister pressed a visitor sticker onto my jacket at our parents' will reading. Find your name on these documents, she smirked, waving the property deeds. I'll wait. But what she didn't know was that a locked drawer in that lawyer's office held something that would change everything. A document that named the real heir, and it wasn't her. Before I share how one family's greed led to the most shocking inheritance reversal our state has ever seen, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy this story. I love hearing from viewers around the world, so drop a comment with your location and what time you're watching. Someone from Australia told me they stayed up until 3 a.m. to hear how this ended. Now, let me take you back to that mahogany-paneled conference room where 12 witnesses watched my entire life get stolen, and then returned in the most unexpected way. The law offices of Harrison and Associates occupied the top floor of a limestone building that had witnessed 50 years of family disputes, but none quite like ours. I arrived 15 minutes early that Tuesday morning, my hands steady despite what I knew was coming. The receptionist, a woman who'd known our family for decades, couldn't meet my eyes as she directed me to conference room A. The others are already here, she said quietly. The others, not your family. Even she knew where the lines had been drawn. The mahogany table could seat 12 comfortably, its polished surface reflecting the overhead lights like a mirror. Victoria had claimed the chair at the head, our father's usual spot. She wore a cream suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, her blonde hair pulled into a severe bun that made her look older than her 38 years. Our parents flanked her like bodyguards, though their clouded eyes suggested they barely knew where they were. Olivia, Victoria acknowledged without standing. We saved you a seat. She gestured to a folding chair someone had placed by the door. Not at the table, not with the family. A metal folding chair that looked like it had been dragged from a storage closet. The other relatives, 2 uncles, 3 cousins, and my father's sister Margaret, shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. Margaret actually smiled sympathetically, but when Victoria's gaze swept over her, she looked away.
Fuck it.
I took the folding chair without comment. Let them think they'd won this small battle. Mr. Harrison hadn't arrived yet, and his empty chair at the opposite end of the table seemed to wait, with the patience of someone who'd seen every possible
Filter
family
coffee. I don't
betrayal.
fancy a coffee yet.
Victoria checked her phone.
I'm caffeinated
He's
already.
running 3 minutes late. Unprofessional, really, for what we're paying him. He's been our family lawyer for 30 years, I said. Your family lawyer, Victoria corrected,
Better food though, the choice is
emphasizing
mine.
the
It is
your
better
like
food,
it was
yeah.
something
Prep
distasteful.
food is better, but it's...
Things are different now.
It
The door
just pains
opened.
me to
Mr.
pay this
Harrison
much money
entered
for
carrying
this.
a briefcase and
The fruit
something
pot's
else.
what hurts the
A
most.
locked
It's like
file box I'd never
$3.50
seen
for a fruit
before.
pot. $3.60 I
He was
paid for this fruit
65,
pot.
silver hair,
And it's like
with the kind of presence that
the
made
same
everyone
thing
sit
in
straighter.
Tesco's pretty much.
His
is
eyes
like
swept the room,
part
lingered
of
on
the
my
meal
folding
deal,
chair,
and you get a
then
sandwich or a
settled on
main and a
Victoria.
drink for like
Shall we begin?
25p
He
more.
asked. Though something in
$3.85
his
with a
tone
club card.
suggested the real
It's
question
insane.
was, are you absolutely certain you want to do this? 29 years.
We've
That's
never
how
eaten
long
the
I'd
park.
been
Let's
their
eat in
daughter,
the park.
or so
I
I
don't think
thought.
I've ever streamed in this.
The adoption
Hanover
papers
Square
were
Park
signed when
before.
I was 3, too young to remember anything before the Mitchell
honest, I don't
house
know if I've
became
ever
my
even
world. But
stepped
Victoria
foot in
never
here.
let me forget that I was
Off stream
chosen,
even?
not born into this family. Remember, she used to say when
I
we
don't
were
think I've ever
kids,
been in this little
they
park
picked
before,
you
ever.
because they felt sorry for you.
It's like I've passed
I'm
it, like,
here
must
because
be,
I'm
like,
supposed to
literally
be.
thousands of times.
Except she wasn't here. Not for the 20 years that mattered. When our parents' health started declining 18 months ago, Victoria was living her best life in Sydney, posting Instagram photos from beach clubs and wine tours. She hadn't called home in 2 years, hadn't visited in 5. Meanwhile, I moved back from the city, taking a leave from my financial management firm to help Dad through his heart surgery, and Mom through her increasing confusion. "Where's Victoria?" Mom would ask during her bad days. "She's traveling, Mom. She's happy." "And you? Are you happy?" I'd hold her hand, the one with the IV drip, and lie. I'm exactly where I need to be. 6 months ago, everything changed. Victoria appeared at the doorstep with 2 suitcases and a smile that never reached her eyes. I heard Daddy's been unwell, she said, pushing past me into the house she'd abandoned. Family should be together during difficult times. The timing was suspicious. Dad had just received a diagnosis of mild dementia. Manageable, the doctors said, but he'd need help with complex decisions. Within a week, Victoria had moved into the master guest suite and inserted herself as their primary caregiver, despite my 18 months of sacrifice. You must be exhausted, she told me one morning, finding me organizing Dad's medications. All this responsibility on someone who's not even... Well, you know, it must be overwhelming. I'm their daughter too. She laughed, actually laughed. On paper, maybe. But when push comes to shove, blood recognizes blood.
Moan count. You want a moan
Daddy
counter?
told me yesterday he's so glad his real daughter finally came home. Dad hadn't recognized anyone yesterday. He'd spent the afternoon calling me by my mother's name and asking when the war would end.
Right?
But Victoria had already started her campaign, and I could see my parents beginning to look at me
differently. It's a
differently.
really good sandwich. It's just,
Not as the daughter who'd cared for them,
it's just like double
but
the
as
price
the
of what it should be.
outsider their real daughter said I'd always been. The room had grown uncomfortably warm. Or maybe it was just the way
really good.
Victoria kept smiling at me.
Really good.
Mr. Harrison arranged his
cucumber,
papers
dill.
methodically, each movement deliberate. The
Pickles,
locked file
salmon.
box sat beside him like a silent witness. Before we begin, Victoria announced, standing up as if she owned the room, I think it's important everyone understands the current situation. She pulled a manila folder from her designer bag. Mom and Dad have already transferred the primary assets to ensure they stay
Nobody
in the
forced
family.
me to buy. I know.
The real family.
I resent paying this much
She
money
spread
for
the
it.
documents
It is
across
good,
the
though.
table like playing cards. Deeds, transfer papers,
epilogue.
bank documents, each one dated 3 months ago, each one bearing our parents' shaky signatures. The house on Maple Street, she read, her manicured finger trailing down the list. The vacation property at the lake, the investment portfolio,
Wait,
Mitchell
isn't
Family
Midsummer's Eve
Enterprises.
tomorrow?
She paused at the last one, looking directly at me. The company you've been
Yeah, now the
managing.
weather bot's working. Huh.
Managing, as if I hadn't built it from a failing print shop into a $3 million digital marketing firm. That's not right, I said quietly. Life isn't fair. Her response came quick, practiced. I cared for them when you were gone. Blood matters more than duty.
Just psych up to Stonehenge.
You
just
disappeared
so
for
she can
10
ride
years,
up to
Victoria.
Stonehenge,
I was finding myself. Now I'm found.
yeah. I've never been to
They
Stonehenge in
needed
my
me.
life.
Every surgery,
But I've
every
been to this place
appointment.
in Ireland.
They have me
Near
now.
Dublin.
She picked up one
Near
of the deeds,
Glen-
holding it up to the light so
Glen
everyone
Murrock.
could see the official
I can't remember
seal.
what it's called.
Find your name on any of these documents.
Which is like a really
Go
old
ahead.
human
I'll wait.
settlement.
The
Like
room
really,
fell
really old.
silent. My uncle
Where they had this
studied their
hole in this
hands.
cave.
Margaret
that once a
opened
year
her
when
mouth
it was
as if
the
to
right
speak,
angle
then
of the sun, it
closed
would
it.
light the inside of the cave
Even
up.
Mr. Harrison
But it
had
only
stopped
happened once a year
shuffling
or something.
papers, his eyes fixed on Victoria with an expression I couldn't read. Nothing?
I can't remember what it's called.
Victoria's voice dripped false sympathy. Not a single mention?
Oh,
How strange.
That was amazing.
It's almost like you were never
It's one of
really
the
part
coolest
of this
things I've ever
family at
seen.
all. Our father stirred in his chair. The papers, he
I
mumbled,
can't remember what it's called.
his voice confused. There were other
Really,
papers.
really early human
Shh,
settlement.
Daddy. Victoria's
Threats
hand
too good to
landed
go
on his
great, are
shoulder, firm. We've taken
I'll have a
care
look
of
at that Rob
everything.
CDB.
The right papers are signed.
I've not used Too Good to
Everything's in
Go.
order. But Mr. Harrison had leaned forward slightly, his fingers drumming once on the table. May I interject? The words were soft, professional, but something in his tone made Victoria's smile falter for just a second. Mr. Harrison adjusted his reading glasses, a gesture I'd seen him make countless times over the years when he was about to say something significant. Ms. Mitchell,
Keep it in cake.
he addressed Victoria
Stonehenge.
formally. These transfers you're
You're not allowed to
referencing,
touch the Stonehenge
they're
rocks
dated
now,
3
are you?
months ago?
You must have
Yes,
been when it was allowed.
Victoria's chin lifted. All properly executed and notarized. I see. He made a note on his legal pad. And you were present for these signings? Of course. Family
Slice
supports family. Indeed. The word hung in the air like a
Are
question.
those shallots?
Tell me, was there any previous documentation regarding the estate? Any earlier arrangements?
Herman, hello.
Victoria's laugh was sharp.
I have a
This
Russian
is the
friend who is a
latest
sound engineer.
version.
Check one.
It supersedes anything else.
And I checked one
Supersedes.
too.
Mr.
Oh my
Harrison
God.
repeated the word
Oh
slowly,
my God.
as if tasting it.
And I checked
That's
one
an
too.
interesting
Okay,
choice
dude.
of words. It implies there was something to supersede.
Okay.
I watched him pull out a different folder from his briefcase, this one
I
with
might
a
reuse
small
that
blue
joke
tab.
and
My heart began to race, though I wasn't sure why. Standard protocol for multiple wills requires specific procedures, he
I checked
continued.
one too.
Witnesses, for instance.
check.
May I ask who witnessed these transfers? It was a private family matter, Victoria said quickly, too quickly. The notary handled everything. A notary can verify signatures, but witnesses serve a different purpose, especially when
Usually
dealing
50
with
to
elderly
60 pounds worth,
signatories who
minimum.
might be
What the hell?
experiencing.
That's a
He
lot.
paused, glancing at my parents.
Huh.
Health challenges.
Maybe you're lucky with the
My
you have.
father's eyes
you
had
know.
drifted to the locked file box beside Mr. Harrison's chair. The blue folder, he said suddenly, his voice clearer than it had been in weeks. Helen, remember the blue folder? My mother blinked slowly. With the ribbons? The one we put in the safe? There's no blue folder, Victoria interrupted, her hand tightening on Dad's shoulder. You're confused. But Mr.
That's so
Harrison
bad
had
it's good,
already
that
turned
joke.
his attention to the locked
That is
box.
so bad it's good.
He produced a small key
I
from
don't
his
usually
vest
like
pocket,
this kind of joke, so that
the
was actually
metallic
good.
click echoing
Not
in the
gonna lie.
silent room. Actually, Mrs. Mitchell's memory might be more reliable than you think. Victoria stood abruptly. What is this? We came here to finalize the current arrangements, not dig through old paperwork. Oh, but old paperwork can be quite illuminating. Mr. Harrison lifted the lid of the box. Inside, I could see the edge of a blue folder, tied with a faded ribbon. Especially when it's been in my personal safe for 15 years, with very specific instructions
Druid
about
droid.
when it should be
What's
revealed.
a druid droid?
The room seemed to hold its breath. I think we
Two
should
Twitch
take a break,
streamers are telling
Victoria
to go to
announced,
Stonehenge.
but Mr. Harrison raised his hand
I'm streaming
gently.
someone else's.
We're all here,
Oh.
Ms. Mitchell. Best to proceed.
Cool.
He pulled out the blue folder, but didn't open it yet. Instead, he looked at me.
Motivates
Olivia,
others. Yeah, I think
would
it
you
depends
mind
on the
staying
one.
in your seat?
I think it must have.
This
that
concerns
too good
you
to go must
directly.
depend on the branch.
Victoria's face had taken on an ugly flush. Whatever old document you have there is irrelevant. The current papers were signed under what circumstances exactly?
I feel like the Central
Mr.
London ones
Harrison
are not going to be
interrupted.
so generous.
Because I have some questions about your
60
parents'
pounds worth.
capacity to make such significant
Dude.
changes. That's when Victoria snapped. She strode over to my folding chair, reaching into her bag again. This time, she pulled out a label maker, the kind you'd use for filing cabinets or storage boxes. The mechanical clicking as she typed filled the silence. You know what your problem is, Olivia? She peeled off the label she'd just created. You don't know your place. Before I could react, she pressed the label onto my jacket. Visitor. The white letters on black tape stood out against my navy blazer like a scar. Gasps rippled through the room. Margaret actually stood up. Victoria, that's enough. Is it? Victoria wheeled on her aunt. She's been playing daughter for 30 years, but we all know the truth. She's
Ooh,
a
there's
charity
pineapple at
case
the
my
bottom of
parents
this.
took in,
Ooh.
and charity cases don't inherit estates. She turned back to me, her face inches from mine. Still can't find your name on any legal document that matters? Still pretending you belong at this table? You're not even supposed to be in this room. I stood slowly, the label still warm against my jacket. Every eye in the room was on me. Some sympathetic, others uncomfortable, all waiting to see if I would crumble. If that's how you see me, I said quietly, then perhaps I should leave. Finally, some sense. Please stay, Ms. Mitchell. Mr. Harrison's voice cut through Victoria's triumph. His formal use of my
Fruit
name,
healthy. I needed
the
something
same
healthy.
name Victoria bore,
I was feeling like,
was deliberate.
you know, when you haven't
You'll
eaten
want
healthy
to hear
stuff for a
this,
while and you just
all
feel a
of you
bit like,
will. He
don't
opened
know
the
how to
blue
describe it,
folder
like,
with the same ceremony someone might use
a bit
to unveil
icky.
a masterpiece. This is the last
your
will and
body's just like,
testament
"I
of
need
Robert and
them,
Helen
let's give
Mitchell,
it to me."
executed 15 years ago, with full mental
Stop feeding me
capacity,
this crap.
3 witnesses, and my personal
I'll have
authentication
McCoy's
as their
crisps every
attorney
day
of
for
record.
breakfast. I can't do it.
Victoria's face went white. That's impossible. Victoria lunged for the blue folder, but Mr. Harrison pulled it back with practiced ease. Please return to your seat, Ms. Mitchell. Any attempt to destroy legal documents will be reported to the authorities. You can't do this, she hissed. Those papers are ancient history. The new documents were signed 3 months ago when your father couldn't remember his own birthday and your mother was on heavy medication for anxiety.
Microplastics, I know.
Mr. Harrison's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath. I've collected medical records from their physicians. Would you like me to read them aloud? The room had become a tableau of frozen faces. My uncles leaned forward. Margaret had her hand over her mouth. Even the cousins who'd avoided eye contact earlier were now staring at Victoria with something between shock and disgust. Let me be clear, Mr. Harrison continued, opening the folder fully.
Damn, what is that emote?
This will was created when both Robert and Helen were in perfect health. They came to my office specifically to ensure their wishes were protected from any future interference. Interference? Victoria's voice cracked. Their word, not mine. They were quite specific about their concerns. He lifted the first page. Shall I read the relevant passage? My father, who'd been silent, suddenly spoke with surprising clarity. Read it, Harrison. Read all of it. Victoria spun toward him. Daddy, you don't understand. I understand enough. His eyes, usually clouded, seemed to focus on his biological daughter with something like disappointment. You came back when you heard about the money.
All day long.
That's not... June 15th, he said. That's when the quarterly statements arrived. June 20th, you were at our door. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. The document reads, We, Robert and Helen Mitchell, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare our beloved daughter, Olivia Mitchell, adopted into our hearts and our family, to be our sole heir and beneficiary. The words seemed to echo in the room. Sole heir, beneficiary.
I'm not going back.
My name,
into prep.
Spoken into legal existence. Victoria's hands shook. That can't be legal. She's not blood. I'm their real daughter.
The content
Biology doesn't determine legitimacy in a state law, Mr. Harrison said. And this document predates your recent papers by 15 years. It takes precedence, especially given the circumstances of the newer signatures. He turned the page. There's more. Would you like me to continue?
This doesn't taste of ginger at all.
This can't be happening. Victoria's carefully constructed composure was crumbling.
Ginger flavoring. What the fuck,
I'm their biological daughter.
Can't they give a bit
Blood
more?
means something. It meant so little to you that you disappeared for a decade, Margaret finally spoke up. Olivia was here, every day, every crisis. Mr. Harrison continued reading. To our biological daughter, Victoria Mitchell, we leave the sum of $1. This token amount, ensuring she cannot contest this will on grounds of omission. He looked up.
What's
Your
it like
parents
writing
were
mean
quite
comments
thorough.
all day, James? Does it make you feel good?
$1? Victoria's voice rose to a shriek.
You feel better with your life?
$1?
Typing
There's an
all day
addendum,
long.
Mr. Harrison noted. Should any attempt be made to manipulate, coerce, or unduly influence us in our declining years, all associated documents shall be considered void, and this original shall stand as our final testament. The precision of it was breathtaking. 15 years ago, my parents had seen this coming. They'd known their daughter well enough to predict her return, her manipulation, her greed. You planned this, Victoria accused, pointing at me. You turned them against me. I was 17 when this was written, I said quietly.
I'm not always mean to you, James.
You were 23, living in Australia,
I can be mean
and
if you
hadn't
want,
called home in 2 years.
I don't like the way it makes
The
me
will
feel
also
being mean to other
specifies,
people.
Mr. Harrison continued, that Mitchell Family Enterprises, which was then a struggling print shop, would belong entirely to whoever transformed it into a profitable venture. Olivia, I believe you have the financial records showing the company's growth under your management? I did. 5 years of tax returns, profit statements, client contracts, all bearing my signature as CEO, a position I'd earned through sweat and innovation, while Victoria posted beach selfies from the other side of the world. This is fraud, Victoria sputtered. Elder abuse. I'll sue. Actually, Mr. Harrison
It's hard to
interrupted,
say.
pulling out another
James
document.
Droid
Elder
Dash.
abuse is exactly what we
James
need
Droid
to discuss.
Dash.
These medical records show your parents' diminished capacity at the time of the recent transfers, combined with evidence that you isolated them from their chosen heir and manipulated them into signing documents they didn't understand. Well, that's a felony in this state. The room went silent except for the sound of Victoria's harsh breathing. Security footage, Mr. Harrison added quietly, from the bank where the transfers were notarized shows you guiding your father's hand as he signed. The bank manager has already provided a sworn statement. Victoria's legs seemed to give out. She sank into her chair, the cream suit that had looked so powerful now making her appear ghostly pale. If you've ever felt like an outsider in your own family, type family in the comments. I read every single one, and it helps me know I'm not alone.
How's things
Also,
with me? Fine.
what would you do if your family gave everything
bad.
to someone who disappeared for 10 years?
How's things
Let
with
me
you?
know below. Your stories give me
Buddy.
strength, and they matter more than you know. Now here's where things get really interesting, because what happened next changed not just my inheritance, but the entire family dynamic forever. Mr. Harrison wasn't finished. He pulled out a tablet and connected it to the conference room screen. I took the liberty of documenting everything over the past 3 months. Every interaction, every
You're still
transaction,
in New York?
every medical report.
What are you doing now?
The screen lit up with a timeline. June 20th, Victoria returns. June 25th,
Still
first attempt
working
to
at the
change
corporate
power of
bank?
attorney. July 5, parents' doctor notes confusion and recommends cognitive evaluation.
God, I really need to wash my
July
fingers. My
15th,
fingers smell of...
evaluation
smells strongly
postponed
of
at
smoked
family
salmon.
member's request.
It's
Signature,
not the best.
Victoria
I don't really
Mitchell.
want to be cycling around
You
with
tracked me?
fishy
Victoria's
fingers all day,
voice
to
was
be quite
hollow.
honest.
I protected my clients, Mr. Harrison
I need to wash
corrected.
my hands.
Robert and Helen asked me
to.
to 15 years
Where
ago.
can I wash
They
my
said,
hands
and
with
I
soap?
quote, "If she comes back when we're vulnerable,
Jassy with the
protect Olivia.
430
She's our
bits, thank
true
you.
daughter." My
Next
mother,
only on
who'd
me,
been
thank you very
silent,
much, I
suddenly
appreciate
reached
it.
across the
To be honest,
table
it might go
toward me.
towards
Olivia, sweetheart, we
modem
remember.
costs.
Not everything, but we remember you.
But in reality,
Mom?
bits
No.
and donations
She
and
shook her head,
all
tears
income I
forming.
make from the stream goes
We signed those papers because Victoria said you'd abandoned us. She said you
not
were
towards
stealing from
anything
the
in particular
company.
for tax reasons.
She said... She trailed off, looking at Victoria with
prep.
horror. You
I don't wanna
lied
go
about
back.
everything.
I just need to wash my
The
fingers.
company
man.
records show Olivia never took a salary above market rate, Mr. Harrison added. In fact, she reinvested 80% of her earnings back into the business. Meanwhile, Ms. Victoria Mitchell has withdrawn $40,000 from your accounts in the last 3 months alone. Gasps echoed around the table. $40,000 in 3 months. And for expenses, Victoria protested. Taking care of them is expensive. Olivia managed it for 18 months without taking a penny, Margaret said coldly. Strange how your care costs so much
Am
more.
I watching the World Cup? I am indeed.
Mr. Harrison pulled out his phone.
I did watch Switzerland
I've been
against
in
Bosnia
contact
yesterday.
with the
That was
district
great.
attorney's
What a
office.
match.
They're very interested
To be honest, I
in this
watched the
case.
first half.
Elder
and it
financial
was
abuse is a serious crime.
Quite attacking
carrying
football,
up
to
to
be
5
honest. It was
years
all
in
right.
prison.
I don't even know what the
You
score
wouldn't
was.
dare. It's not up to me. It's up to
It was
Olivia.
not the worst match I've ever
He
seen in my
turned to
life.
me.
Couldn't
As
care
the
less who
rightful
won,
heir
though.
and the victim of attempted
Honestly,
fraud,
couldn't give a shit.
you have the right to press charges. Everyone looked at me. Even Victoria,
Hope I
her
didn't
face
get any
a
fish
mask
on the
of
gloves.
fear now, stared
That
at me
is the
with
worry,
something
isn't
like
it?
pleading
They
in
are
her
fingerless,
eyes.
Glow.
The
but
visitor label still clung to my jacket,
might have got
a
some
reminder
fish
of
juice.
how she'd tried to erase me. But I wasn't the
Some
one
fishy
who needed to
flavoured
prove
juice
anything
on the
anymore.
gloves.
There's one more thing, Mr. Harrison said, reaching into the blue folder again.
Let's see.
A letter. Your parents asked me to read it only if the situation arose. He
Where
unfolded
can
a
I wash
handwritten
my
page,
hands?
my mother's careful script visible even from where I sat. Dear Olivia, he began, his voice taking on a gentler tone. If you're hearing this, it means we were right to be afraid.
Wash hands
right
and
to
then apply
protect you.
sunscreen, I think.
Victoria made a sound
I
like
don't
a
want to be
wounded
applying
animal.
sunscreen with fishy
You came to
fingers.
us as a 3-year-old girl who'd already lost everything. We promised to love you as our own, and that promise became the truest thing in our lives. You are our daughter. Not by blood, but by choice. By
Oh, maybe
love,
I'm just wash them in
by
the
every
thingamajig,
birthday
the
cake
water
baked,
fountain up here.
every scraped
There's a water
knee
fountain on
bandaged,
Garnaby Street. I'm
every
just gonna
proud
wash them
moment
there.
at your graduations. Tears were running down my face now. I couldn't stop them. Victoria is our biological child, but she chose to be a stranger. When you built the
Don't have
business,
soap
she
though,
was
but
silent. When
to
we
just
were
make
sick,
do, won't I?
she was absent. We know she'll come back for the money. She always talked about her inheritance even as a child, as if our death was just a payday waiting to happen. Stop, Victoria whispered. Please stop. But Mr. Harrison continued. The will we're signing today isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting you. You are our legacy, Olivia.
Just spit
You
then
are
wash.
what we're proud of.
I need soap
The
though.
business you built, the
Don't have
care you've
soap.
shown, the woman you've become,
Where's the entrance?
that's
Oh,
our
it's
true
here.
inheritance
Court,
to the
okay.
world. Our bodies made Victoria, but our hearts chose you. Never doubt that you are our real daughter. Love, Mom and Dad. The silence that followed was complete. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause. Margaret was crying openly. My uncle sat stunned. My parents, despite their confusion, had moved their chairs closer to mine. The blue folder, my father said suddenly, his moment of clarity bright and brief. We put our hearts in the blue folder for Olivia, our daughter. Victoria
Gloves
stood
off.
abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This isn't over.
Gloves
I'll
off.
contest. With what money? Mr. Harrison asked mildly. The 40,000 you took? That's evidence of embezzlement now. Your recent transfers are void. You have no legal standing, no funds, and potential criminal charges pending. She looked around the room, searching for
still smells
allies,
of fish.
but found only condemnation. Even the cousins who'd smiled at her earlier now avoided her gaze. Victoria's final attempt at control was almost pitiful. She grabbed the label maker
honest, I
again,
might as well just
her
fill my
fingers
water bottle
fumbling
now
with
as
the
well.
keys. You want to see what you really are? She printed another
Any World
label.
Cup game is better than
Thief.
the Birmingham City game.
You stole
Fucking
my
ban this guy,
family.
man.
She tried to stick it on me, but
This
I caught her
fucking guy.
wrist. Not roughly,
Thinks he's
just
funny.
firmly. No, I said. I'm done letting you
This
label me.
fucking James D49
The visitor
thinks
tag
he's
was
funny,
still on my
doesn't he?
jacket. I peeled it off slowly, deliberately, and looked at it. Then I did something that
Cheeky
made
bastard.
everyone stare. I laughed.
Who do you support, James
You know what?
D49?
I'm keeping this.
Let me guess.
I folded the label carefully and put it in my
Manchester United.
pocket. I'm framing it in my office. A reminder that sometimes the visitors are the ones who
I
were
bet you
born
support
here,
Man United.
and the family are
You
the
seem
ones
like
who
a Man
chose
United
to
fan.
stay. You
don't know what it is
sanctimonious
about you, just-
Victoria. Mr. Harrison's voice cut through. I suggest you leave now. The district attorney will contact you within 48 hours about the charges. You'll need a lawyer. I'll destroy you, she snarled at me. All of you. I'll tell everyone what you did. Tell them what?
You support
Margaret
Millwall.
stood
There's
up,
no way
her
James
5-foot
supports
frame
Millwall.
somehow imposing. That you tried to steal from your
There's no
parents?
chance.
That you committed elder abuse? Please tell everyone. Save us the trouble. Victoria grabbed her designer bag, her hands shaking so badly she could barely zip it. This
water's
family
kinda
is
shit, but
poison.
fuck it, I'm here
You
now.
all deserve each other. We are each other's, my mother said quietly. It was the clearest thing she'd said in months. That's what you never understood, Victoria. Family isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. And we
Not the
choose
best
Olivia.
filtered water, but-
Victoria's exit was not the dramatic storm out she probably wanted. She stumbled over the threshold, her heel catching on the carpet. No one moved to help her.
Fuck,
The
my
door
fingers
closed
still
with a
smell of fish,
quiet
man. This
click
isn't-
that somehow
I
sounded
need
final.
soap.
Well, Mr. Harrison said after a moment, beginning to organize
At
his
least my gloves don't
papers.
smell of fish yet.
I'll file the necessary
Where am I gonna
documents
get
this
soap from?
afternoon. Olivia, as conservator for your parents' estate,
Water's not gonna
you'll
cut it.
need
I
to
need
sign
soap.
some papers. The house, the business, all assets will be properly
hand
transferred to
gel
your
there.
management until...
We go to Boots and
He
get some
glanced
hand gel.
kindly at my parents. Until they're needed.
Some
What about Victoria? I asked. The charges? That's your decision.
Some gel,
But I'd
some
recommend
jelly
protection orders at
gel.
minimum.
Gel.
She's desperate
What am
now,
I
and
thinking?
desperate
What am I
people do
trying to say?
dangerous things. I nodded, already
sanitizer.
exhausted by the weight of what came next. The rest of the meeting passed in a blur of signatures and explanations. Mr. Harrison walked everyone through the legal implications, the timeline for
find
transfers,
the toilet.
the criminal investigation that would follow. My uncles,
I thought you
who'd
were
been
a toilet,
silent
James.
throughout Victoria's humiliation, now
said you
offered
were.
their support.
You said.
We should have spoken up sooner,
What did you
Uncle
say?
James said. We saw what
You
she
said-
was doing, but She's
I
family.
also love shitting. I'm
So
a
is
toilet.
Olivia, Margaret said firmly. We
That's what
forgot
you typed
that.
in chat like
We
2-3
let blood
days ago.
blind us to behavior. As
Don't you
people began
remember?
to leave, each stopping to squeeze my shoulder or murmur an
hand
apology,
sanitizer
my
spilled, so I
parents
had to get
remained
rid of it.
seated. They
The
looked
bottle
smaller
went.
somehow, diminished by the weight of their daughter's betrayal. We failed you, my mother said. Both of you. We failed Victoria
I'm
by
your
never
toilet, I
teaching her
think.
consequences,
Yeah, it's
and we
I'm,
failed
because
you
you're
by
trying to say
letting her
in
make
your
you
toilet. I
feel like
also like
less
shitting
than
in
you
your
are.
toilet. But
Mom,
you wrote,
no,
I also like
let me
shitting.
finish.
I'm your toilet.
My mind,
'Cause
it
it was a
comes and
typo.
goes. But right now, in this moment, I
So
know
actually, James,
exactly
you're
who
my
you
toilet.
are. You're the daughter who
Actually.
held my hand through chemo 10 years ago.
I can show
Who
you the
learned to cook
screenshot
Dad's
again.
favorite soup when I couldn't.
Shall we bring it up
Who
again,
built a
James?
business from nothing and never once
Just
lorded it
to-
over us. My father
show
nodded
everybody.
slowly. The will. We wrote it after Victoria missed your college graduation. She was finding herself in Europe. You just graduated summa cum laude,
I
and
also
she
like
couldn't be
shitting.
bothered to
I'm
come
your
home.
toilet.
That's when we knew.
There
Knew
we go.
what? That biology is just science. Love is what makes a family.
Look, you just gotta
Mr. Harrison
take what you
finished
give,
packing his
James.
briefcase,
You
leaving
can't be
the blue
mean and
folder
then
on the
as
table
soon
in
as I
front of
say
me.
something,
This is yours
slightly-
now. The original
Slightly.
will.
I mean, you're the one that
letter,
typed it.
all
I'm
of
not
it.
gonna. I'm not
Your
like. I'm
parents
not making
wanted you
shit
to
up.
have
You're,
it
like,
when the time came.
You're the one that wrote that.
What happens to Victoria? I asked. That depends on her.
You wrote it, not me.
If she's smart, she'll leave
What do
town.
you want me to do?
Start over. If she
You
fights
want, me,
this,
you want me to pretend it never happened?
he shrugged. The evidence is overwhelming.
You wrote it
The
twice,
security footage
actually.
alone would convict
I think you
her.
copy pasted it twice.
As we prepared to leave, I looked around
Or
the
the second time
conference
you wrote
room
it was a
one
big
last
typo.
time. 2
A
hours
big old
ago,
titty
I'd
typo.
entered as a visitor in my own family. Now I was leaving as what
A
I'd
tig old
always
bitty
been,
typo.
their daughter.
Unfollowed. You never followed in
Olivia?
the first place.
My father's voice was fading back into
Hips
confusion.
don't lie. I mean, receipts
Are we
don't
going
lie.
home? Yes, Dad.
True.
We're going home. And
Oh,
for
I
the
really need
first
to wash
time
my
in
fingers,
6
man.
months, I actually believed it was still ours.
I've got fishy fingers.
Have you ever had someone try to erase your entire existence from a family? Share your story in the comments.
really
I
need to
reply
wash my
to as
fingers
many
with
as I
soap.
can. And your
There's a toilet in here.
experiences
I
help
forgot. Yeah,
others
let's
know
use
they're
this.
not alone.
Use this toilet.
And if you're
There's one of
finding
these
value in
thingamajigs
this story,
we can
please
use.
hit that like button. It really helps others who need to hear this message find it too. The algorithm is mysterious, but your engagement makes a real difference.
Be right
Now,
back crying.
let me tell you what
I'd
happened
feel sad
after
if I
Victoria
believed you.
left, because
I'd
the
feel sorry for you if
aftermath
I
was
actually
something
believed
none
you.
of us expected. 3 days later, the doorbell rang at 6 a.m. I found Victoria on the porch, but not the Victoria from the conference room. This one wore sweatpants and no makeup, her hair unwashed, her eyes red-rimmed. Behind her, a rental car was packed with boxes. I need the photo albums, she said without preamble. The ones from when I was a kid. They're mine. I could have said no. Legally, everything in the house was under my control now, but something in her broken posture made me step aside. They're in the attic, you know where. She climbed the stairs while I made coffee. When she came down 20 minutes later, she was crying, ugly, harsh sobs that shook
So
her
you're
whole
saying,
body.
so what
They
you're trying
wrote
to say is that my
letters,
stream
she
stopped you
gasped.
from crying?
In the
That's
albums,
nice.
little notes about my
Let's
first
see if there's
steps,
a
my kindergarten
hand washing
graduation.
facilities
They
in
loved
here.
me once. They never stopped loving you, Victoria. They just stopped trusting you. She sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we'd eaten countless family dinners, and looked at me with something like genuine curiosity. How do you do it? How do you love people who can throw you away? They didn't throw me away. You tried to. But they signed those papers. When I told them you were stealing, they believed me. They were sick and confused.
Automatically closes.
You were
Oh,
their
right.
biological daughter
then.
telling them lies that sounded plausible. That's not throwing someone away. That's being manipulated. She was quiet for a long moment, then.
It doesn't look like it.
The DA called. They're offering a plea deal, probation and restitution instead of jail time, if I don't contest the will and leave the state.
Hello.
You should take it. I know. She stood, clutching the photo albums. I'm moving to Portland. I have a friend there who offered me a job. Nothing fancy, just office work, but it's far from here.
I don't know, man.
We walked to the door together. On the
I'd
porch,
have to
she
stand
turned
far away
back.
from the thing.
That label thing, I'm sorry.
Kinda need to pee
That
now
was
as well.
cruel, even for me.
Come on, you bastard.
I meant what I said.
Why won't
I'm
it
keeping it.
close?
Why? Because
my
for
God, it just
29
started to
years,
close and I pressed the
I've been
button.
afraid of being called a visitor in my own life. You made my
Close.
worst fear real, and I survived it. That label has no power over me now. She nodded slowly, understanding maybe for the first time that her cruelty had backfired. Take care of them. Better than I would have. I will. As her car pulled away, my father appeared beside me, one of
What
his
the fuck is going
increasingly
on, man?
rare moments of clarity lighting his eyes. She's gone? Yeah, Dad, she's gone. Good, he said firmly. Now our real daughter can stop looking over her shoulder. The legal aftermath moved with
Finally.
surprising
Fucking
speed.
hell.
Within 2 weeks, all the fraudulent
locked?
transfers were
Who knows?
reversed. The house deed returned to my parents'
Who
names with me
knows?
as conservator. The business accounts were restored. The 40,000 Victoria had
I might
taken
as
was
well
harder
take a
to
piss,
recover.
to be honest.
She'd spent
Seeing as
most of
I'm
it on
here.
her appearance, her car rental, hotels. But the plea deal required her to pay it back over 5 years. Mr. Harrison handled everything with the efficiency of someone who'd been preparing for this moment. Your parents were smarter than Victoria gave them credit for, he told me. That original will was ironclad. She never stood a chance. The family dynamics shifted too. Margaret became a regular visitor, bringing casseroles and sitting with Mom during her confused days. My uncles, freed from the awkwardness of choosing sides, helped me renovate the house to be safer for my parents. Grab bars, better lighting, a medical alert system. We should have stood up for you, Uncle James said one afternoon, installing a ramp for Dad's wheelchair. When she put that label on you, we should have said something. You were scared of dividing the family. The family was already divided. We just pretended not to see it. Mitchell Family Enterprises thrived without the cloud of uncertainty. Clients who'd been nervous about the ownership dispute renewed their contracts. 3 major companies that had been waiting on the sidelines signed on. Within a month, we'd grown another 15%. I hired 2 new account managers and promoted my assistant to operations director. You're the real CEO now, she said. No one questioning it, no one threatening to take it away. I was always the real CEO. Now it's just official. The truth was, the business success felt hollow compared to the moments with my parents. Dad's clear days became fewer, but when they came, he was fully present. I'm proud of you, he'd say. Not for winning, for staying. Mom's anxiety decreased once Victoria was gone. Her doctor said the constant manipulation had been making her condition worse. Elder abuse isn't always physical, he explained. Sometimes it's psychological torture. Your sister was literally driving your mother crazy. One evening, I found Mom looking through the photo albums Victoria had left behind. She'd only taken ones from her childhood, leaving the rest. Look, Mom said, pointing to a picture of my college graduation. Victoria's not in any of these. 8 years of your achievements, and she's not in a single photo. She was traveling. No, sweetheart. She was absent. There's a difference between being away and being absent. You were away when you lived in the city, but you were never absent. She was absent even when she was here. The district attorney's office was thorough in their investigation. Detective Sarah Chen spent 3 hours interviewing me, recording
There wasn't any
everything about
soap.
Victoria's manipulation tactics. Financial elder
Fingers still
abuse is
smell
one
like
of the
fish.
fastest growing crimes, she explained. Your case is textbook. Family member returns when parents are
I
vulnerable,
wash as best as
isolates
I can,
them from other
fingers still
family,
smell like fish.
creates dependency, then strikes. The only unusual part is how well prepared your parents were. They knew their daughter. That must have been painful for them, to love someone and still need
By the
protection
way,
from them.
I've got these
The
tan-
evidence
look at
was
these tans.
overwhelming.
Look at
Bank
this.
surveillance showed
Look at
Victoria
this
guiding
chat.
Dad's hand
Look
as
at
he
this.
signed.
See my tan?
Medical
Like,
records
it's got the
confirmed
glove
he
tan,
couldn't
you
have
see? You
understood
see that little
complex
brown bit
financial
there?
documents.
And the watch
The
tan.
timeline Mr. Harrison
That's
had
the glove
created
tan,
showed a
where the-
clear pattern of
there
escalating
and there,
control.
where there's a hole in the straps
The
of
plea deal is
gloves.
generous, Detective Chen said. 5 years
watch
probation,
tan as well.
mandatory counseling, restitution, and a permanent restraining order.
Yeah, my fingers smell of
She
smoked
can never
salmon.
contact your parents
Because I just had
again.
a smoked salmon sandwich.
What if she violates it?
Zed Storm Gamer.
Immediate imprisonment.
Yep. That's
5
why.
years, no parole. I signed the victim
I think
impact
it smells like fish.
statement,
Oh, it's
agreeing
pretty
to the
strong
plea
smelling,
deal.
to be honest.
Not out
I
of
don't really know
mercy
how
for
to
Victoria,
find some
but
soap.
exhaustion.
Where am I gonna get
I
soap
wanted it
from?
over. The financial investigation revealed more than just the
I'm gonna have to go to
40,000.
McDonald's or something.
Victoria had opened
I
credit
don't wanna
cards in
go
our
to
parents' names,
McDonald's.
charged another 30,000. She'd tried to liquidate their retirement accounts, but needed a second signature she couldn't forge. She'd even researched reverse mortgages on the house. She was planning to strip them of everything, Detective Chen said. If Mr. Harrison hadn't intervened when he did, she would have succeeded. But she's still their
Get something
daughter.
antibacterial
They
from
still
Boots.
love
Yeah,
her.
but that's not gonna get rid of the smell.
Love and accountability aren't mutually exclusive. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. The investigation also cleared my name completely.
Brett would have had soap, I
Every
know.
dollar I'd earned,
Oh, I didn't want to go
every
back in
business
there.
decision I'd made, every check I'd written for my parents' care, all legitimate, all documented. You ran that company with complete transparency, the forensic accountant said. I've rarely seen books this clean. It's like you knew
Had you
someone
put
would audit
sunscreen on,
them
then your fish would
someday.
have smelled like sunscreen.
I knew Victoria would come back eventually.
True.
I wanted to be ready.
True, true.
You couldn't have known she'd try this. I knew she'd try something. She used to joke about her inheritance when we were kids, about how she'd spend it. She never joked about earning anything, only about what she was owed. The final report was damning for Victoria, but vindicating for me. Every accusation she'd made was proven false. Every manipulation exposed. Every
Hash
lie
brown. You like those hash
documented.
browns? Man, you Americans
Victoria's
are
last stand
are
came
weird
through
with
a
hash
lawyer.
browns.
Not a good one, but the only
Like
one
for
who'd
us,
take
hash
her
browns is
case
kind of
on
just like an
contingency.
afterthought.
He
Like
sent a demand letter claiming emotional
little
distress,
thing, just whatever,
defamation, and
whatever kind of little
alienation
fucking
of
little
parental
shit thing.
affection.
But in
The
America,
number
it's
he
like,
demanded
the
was
thing is
laughable.
the hash brown.
$2 million. Mr. Harrison
Guys
actually
love that
chuckled
shit.
when he read it. Alienation of parental affection isn't even a real cause of action in this state. And
I just need to
emotional
wash my
distress?
fingers, man.
She committed elder abuse. This is what
Should I
we
wash
call
my
a
fingers?
nuisance suit. Should I be worried?
Oh,
About
it's nice
this?
being in the sunshine,
No.
but I do need to put sunscreen
But it
on.
tells us she's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. The mistake came 2 days later. Victoria showed up at Mitchell Family Enterprises, trying to convince my employees that she was the rightful owner. Security footage showed her in the lobby, waving the old transfer papers, demanding to be let into her office. My operations director called me immediately. She's here, making a scene. Should I call the police? Yes.
You think in
She's
America I'd
violating the
find soap?
restraining order. By the time I
Perhaps.
arrived, 2 officers had Victoria in
excuse them.
handcuffs. She saw me and started screaming. You stole everything! You manipulated them! You're not even real family! Ma'am, you need to calm down, the officer said. I want her arrested. Victoria pointed at me with her cuffed hands. She's a fraud. The officer looked at me apologetically. We've explained the restraining order. This is a clear violation. She'll be held pending a hearing. As they led her away, Victoria turned back one last time. You'll never be their real daughter. Never! I already am, I said quietly. I've always been. The violation meant the plea deal was void. The DA's office moved forward with full charges: elder abuse, fraud, identity theft, and now criminal contempt. Victoria was looking at real prison time. Her lawyer withdrew from the case the next day. No one else would take it. The evidence was too overwhelming. The violations too blatant.
Should I get some boba?
She'd burned
Fuck, this
every
boba place
bridge,
doesn't open every time I'm
exhausted
here.
every option.
I want this boba, and it's not
A
open
week
until
later,
11.
I got a call from a jail
Fucking
number.
hell.
I almost didn't answer, but curiosity
Fucking
won.
hell.
Olivia? Victoria's voice was small, defeated. I need help.
Do you think if I streamed less
I can't help
frequently,
you,
I'd have
Victoria.
better content?
You know that. I know, I wanted you to know I'm taking the new plea deal. 3 years minimum security, then probation. I'll be out of your lives forever. Okay. Take care of them, please. I always have. The line went dead. It was the last time we ever spoke.
No.
The judge at Victoria's
Possibly.
sentencing was a small woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. Judge Patricia Thornton had a reputation for being tough on elder abuse cases, and she lived up to it. Ms. Mitchell, she addressed Victoria, who stood in an orange
This
jumpsuit,
isn't even
her
the
designer
McDonald's
clothes
street
a memory.
to wash my fingers.
You targeted the most
Fuck.
vulnerable members of your own family. You exploited their trust, their love, and their declining health for financial gain. This court has reviewed the evidence, including security footage of you physically guiding your father's hand to sign documents he couldn't understand. Do you have anything to say? Victoria's court-appointed attorney whispered urgently, but she shook him off. I was their real daughter. I had rights. You had responsibilities, Judge Thornton interrupted, which you abandoned for a decade. Your sister, yes, Ms. Mitchell, she is your sister legally and morally, fulfilled those responsibilities while you were, in your own words, finding yourself. You found yourself, all right. You found yourself to be someone who would steal from their own parents. The sentence was harsh but fair. 3 years in minimum security for elder abuse, 2 years concurrent for fraud, 5 years probation after
I was
release,
all-night
and
nightclub in
full
Soho.
restitution of $70,000.
I went to a club once in Soho and it was so shit that I was like,
Furthermore,
I'm never going
the
out in
judge
Soho ever
continued,
again.
you are permanently barred from any contact with Robert and Helen Mitchell. Any violation will result in immediate imprisonment with a maximum sentence of 10 years. As they led Victoria away, she didn't look back. Her shoulders were slumped, her fight finally gone. The woman who'd tried to erase me from the family
Shit, I'm walking in the wrong
instead
fucking
erased
direction from
herself.
McDonald's.
Outside the
Fuck's sake.
courthouse, Mr. Harrison
Why
waited
did I
with
think
an
it was this
umbrella.
way?
It had started to rain.
It's obviously behind us.
How
Man,
do you
I'm
feel?
not with it.
He asked.
My fingers are
Empty,
just destined
I
to smell like
admitted.
fish all day, I know
I
it.
thought I'd feel vindicated, but I
It
just
still
feel
smells
sad.
like fish, man, it's bad.
That's because you have empathy. She counted on that, you know.
The smell's
She thought
just
your
not going to come
kindness
off
would
unless I
make you
really
weak.
scrub it with soap. I know
Maybe
it.
it does.
I know it's one of those smells that's
No,
just going to be there
Olivia.
all day if I don't
Your
sort it out.
kindness is what made your parents
So,
choose you. It's what built your business. It's what saved them from losing everything. Kindness isn't weakness when it's paired
It
with
got
boundaries.
raided by police.
The
What
media
hell?
picked up the story. Adopted daughter saves elderly parents from bio daughter's fraud ran in the local paper. I declined all interviews. This wasn't a story I wanted to profit from. It was a tragedy I'd survived. But the publicity had an unexpected benefit. 3 other families reached out, sharing similar stories. We formed a support group for families dealing with financial elder abuse. Sometimes the greatest revenge is turning pain into purpose. 6 months after the sentencing, life had found a new rhythm. My parents
guess
were
we just go
settled
to the
in a
McDonald's
routine
up here
that
then?
worked for their conditions. Mom had good days and
Or
bad
could go to
days,
Slim Chickens
but
for
the
the
good ones
toilet.
were peaceful now, free from Victoria's toxic
Slim
presence.
Chickens will be open at this time as
Dad's
well.
decline was steady but gentle. He knew
Decisions,
he was
decisions.
safe, loved, and home. The
How
business hit a
exciting.
milestone, $5 million in revenue. I promoted my operations director to partner, giving her 20% equity. You've earned this, I told her. You stood by me when
thank you
everything
very
was
much.
uncertain. You mean when your sister was trying
BMW,
to
yeah.
steal everything?
Decided to
When my
stop.
sister was destroying herself, I corrected.
Your
The
all-night club
saddest
got
part
raided
is,
by the police.
if she'd just asked for
Damn.
help, really asked without manipulation, I would have given it. Margaret became a daily presence,
Saying words,
moving
live
into the guest
streaming,
house to help with my parents'
hunting,
care.
fishing,
I owe
loving
you
every
this,
day.
she said. For all the years I let blood matter more than behavior. The extended family slowly healed. Sunday dinners resumed, with cousins bringing their children to play in the yard where Victoria and I had once played. No one mentioned her name, but her absence was felt, like a tooth missing from a smile. I kept my promise about the visitor label.
2 cocktails rating good, yeah.
It sat in a
That's
small
lot, innit?
frame on my office desk, right next to a photo from my adoption day.
That's a lot.
Clients sometimes asked about it, and I'd tell them a shortened version. Someone once tried to make me feel like I didn't belong. I kept it as a reminder that belonging isn't something others can
Dystopian
give or
future
take.
price as well.
It's something
Paying
you claim.
£6 for a
One
tiny little
afternoon,
salmon roll
Mom had a perfect clarity moment.
was dystopian future
We
prices
were
in my
sitting in the
opinion.
garden, watching the roses she'd planted years ago.
Karen,
bloom
that
despite
woman
neglect.
looked like Karen.
I need to tell you something, she said, her voice
Just the
strong,
haircut.
about the will.
Why do women still get
the
that haircut
original
when
one.
it's like, it makes them
Mom,
look like
you
Karen?
don't need to. Yes, I do. We wrote it the day after you
It's the Karen
graduated
cut.
college. Victoria had promised to
Do you think
come,
this
bought a ticket
Waterloo
even,
will have soap?
but she sold it to extend her trip.
I don't know. I should
You
just go to
didn't know
McDonald's.
she was supposed to be
Stop
there.
fucking around and be a
I
man.
suspected.
There
You
ain't
walked
nothing out
across
here
that
for you.
stage, looked for her anyway. I saw you searching the crowd. That's when I knew.
Stop fucking
You loved her
around
despite everything,
and be a
and
man.
she loved only herself.
Stop
She's
fucking
still your daughter,
around.
Mom. Biology made her my daughter. Choice made you my daughter. And if I had to choose again, knowing everything that would happen, I'd still choose you. Every single time. A year later, I stood in the same
Do Londoners
conference room
shop at
where
Aldi?
everything
Yes.
had unraveled.
Yes,
But this
we
time,
do.
I was there for a different reason. Mr. Harrison was retiring, and he'd asked me to be there for the transition to his partner. 35 years I've been doing this, he said, looking around the room. I've seen every type of family dispute imaginable, but yours taught me something. What's that? That sometimes the best preparation for betrayal is hope paired with documentation. He smiled. Your parents hoped Victoria would never do what she did, but they documented everything in case she tried. That's wisdom. He handed me a box, the same locked box that had held the blue
I'm
folder.
gonna go into this Tesco's and wash my fingers.
Your parents wanted you to have this when the time was right. I think that time is now. Inside were letters, dozens of them, dated from my adoption through college. Each one from my parents to me, never sent, just saved. The first one was dated the day after my adoption. Dear Olivia, today you became ours, but the truth is, we became yours. You're 3 years old and you've already lost so much, but we promise you'll never lose us. Even if our minds fade, even if our bodies fail, we will always be your parents, and you will always be our daughter. The last one was dated a week before Victoria returned. Dear Olivia, I'm writing this on a clear day, and I want you to know, we see Victoria coming. Not literally, but we know she'll return when she hears about Dad's diagnosis. We've prepared everything with Mr. Harrison. Trust him, trust the law, trust yourself, and know that no matter what happens, no matter what we might say or do in our confusion, you are our chosen one. Our daughter by choice is stronger than our daughter by chance. I sat in that conference room, reading letter after letter, crying freely. Mr. Harrison sat quietly, a tissue box between us. They loved you from the first moment, he said finally. But more importantly, they respected you. They saw who you'd become before you became it. What about Victoria? Did they write her letters? One, just one. It's in the prison mail system now. She'll get it when she's released. They forgave her, Olivia. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean trusting. It just means releasing the anger. I thought about that as I drove home, the box of letters beside me. My parents were napping when I arrived, holding hands even in sleep. I kissed both their foreheads and went to my office. The visitor label still sat on my desk, but now it felt different. Not like a wound, but like a scar. Healed, faded, just part of my story. Family isn't about blood. It's about choice. And every day, I choose them, just as they chose me. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear that standing up for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary.
Wipe the lens. Does it need wiping?
What boundaries have you
Why is it
had to set
dirty?
with family? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your stories help others know they're not alone. And remember, if you enjoyed this story, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss my next one about justice served cold.
Hello, Harland.
Your support helps these important
I'm
stories reach
acknowledging
people
your
who
chat
need
messages.
them.
Hello.
Until then, know your worth, document everything, and remember, family is
Hey,